YOLO amazing people of YouTube. So today I want to talk to you guys about the future and what it's going to be like in the near future. So one thing that's important is that money is going to turn into a digital currency. But why is this important? It's important because once that happens, every single part of your life is now public. They will know how every single last penny is spent, how it's earned, where it goes, why it goes there. Now, back in the days, man, like these crazy people used to say, oh, the government is gonna put like the mark of the beast on people. They're gonna, put a tattoo on their hand, on their forehead. They're gonna chip people. This is the crazy shit they were saying, right? But they were right in a weird way. It happened, just not in the way they thought it was going to happen. They weren't going to put a chip in your hand, like in your hand. They put the chip inside your hand in the form of a phone, right? You hold that phone in your hand all day long. It even, like, if you're an Apple user, goddamn, you have a forbidden fruit in your hand that collects vast amounts of information about you. They already put that. You're willingly chipping yourself all day, every day. Basically, the way it works, if you read any of the contracts when they give you a brand new phone, it's like hundreds of pages. Well, in there, it says that they can gather just regular data, meaning they don't really give a shit about you personally. They just want to know data in regards to the phone, like where it moves around to, at what times, and all this stuff. But based on all this, when you collect vast amounts of data based on a large population, you can predict almost anything. And this is how crazy this concept is. Look, like, they know what kind of food you eat and how often, based on you searching on maps and then calling the place and then using your debit or credit card to make that order, right? And then they know how often your bowels move. They know when you go to the restroom. They even know how long it takes you to use the restroom. That's crazy, right? When you really think about it from that perspective. And they're able to do this. It's the same concept like when you go to a place and you park, and then when you get back in your car and it gives you like, oh, this many minutes using the freeway to get to this destination. Well, why would it suggest that to you? Because it noticed that you went here 50 times and 45 times you went back home. So at 8 in the morning, you usually go to here for 8 hours and then you go to home. Based on that information, they know that 8 o'clock you leave your house and you go to work. You work an 8-hour shift and then you go straight home. They know how long it takes you to get home, what type of music you're listening to, what kind of podcast, whatever the fuck you're doing, right? Like, the amount of information they gather in terms of people's psyche, in terms of how the human brain functions, right? Like, if it's traffic on the way to work, why do you divert into a small street like I'm doing right now? Like, based on gathering vast amounts of information on a lot of people, they can predict things. They can predict what you're gonna do with pretty high accuracy. Even though you as an individual, you're very unique in so many ways. But when you take data based on millions and millions of people, you can pretty much know exactly what they're gonna do, man. It's fucking crazy, And I want to touch on a few other subjects, man, that, like, things happen in the background that we see it on the news, but most people don't realize the implication of how dangerous and crazy some of this stuff is, right? Like the situation with Alex Jones, them hitting Alex Jones with $1 billion fine for exercising his First Amendment right. Now, he was a conspiracy theorist. Everybody knew he was a conspiracy theorist. And he had opinions about Sandy Hook. The beautiful part about the First Amendment is you don't have to be right. It doesn't have to be a popular opinion. You can be so off the rails. You can say the moon is made out of cheese and the United States government made it into cheese. You have a right to think and say these things. It doesn't have to be accurate. It doesn't have to be right. Long as you're not telling people to go hurt people, and long as you're not saying you're gonna hurt people or you're gonna hurt yourself, everything goes. That's freedom of speech. So if they can hit a billionaire, if they hit him with $1 billion fine, that means that they assumed he can pay $1 billion fine. So if they can do that to an American billionaire, imagine what they can do to me and you. Now, on the news recently is like, oh, they got that Russian dude for like 200 something million dollars. They took his yacht, his houses, right? And they're like, oh, they said he's a Russian oligarch and a Russian national. And to punish Russia, we're going to take this dude's money away. Yeah, but you guys didn't charge him with a crime. Not even a fucking jaywalking ticket. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. That's pretty much saying, just because this motherfucker's Russian, we're gonna take his money away. Like, do you guys realize the implications of that and how that can affect you as an everyday person? Because if they can do that to a person with enough money to hire the best lawyers in the country, they didn't even charge him for anything. No crime was committed. So what's the implications of that? The implications of that is they can do whatever the fuck they want to whoever they want, whenever and however, and no one is gonna give a shit long as they put a title on it. He was a Saudi Arabian whatever the fuck, and he had ties to the royal family, even though there is no fucking ties. Long as they put a title like that and they take your fortune away and they take your life away from you, it doesn't matter, right? Now, to put the tinfoil hat on, I'm gonna say there's been a bunch of whistleblowers out there that have actually talked about it, the security in terms of information, like vast amounts of information gathered on things like phones and credit cards and on Google and all this stuff, right? Like, there's been whistleblowers that have said, hey, look, your phone's camera and microphone, it's on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's being uploaded to a private cloud and it's just being stored. And it's not because someone wants to watch you as an individual. No, they're saving all this information that in the event in the future that they need to go back and find some shit out about you, like they can just go back into that cloud and find out what you were doing on this day and check your video and your audio on your phone. That might sound crazy to a lot of you guys, but that's actually how governments work. Even the United States government. So they're not necessarily watching and listening to you directly. They're just tapped into everybody. And I used to tell my friends back in the days, man, like, hey, you guys that use like burner phones and you guys try and get new numbers and stuff like that, like, dude, the minute you say hello on a phone, our technology has come to the point where just by your voice, you saying hello, you could be in a different state on a payphone. The minute you say hello, they know it's you because every voice is like a fingerprint. I don't know if you guys ever call merchant services, if you guys call your credit cards or your bank accounts or some of these companies even. And they have an option now. Would you like us to save your voice so that for the future you don't have to identify yourself with your date of birth and all these other questions? Is it okay if we record your voice and use that as, I always say, fuck no, hell no, that's fucking weird, dude. But I also tell my friends that, and I because I always I read about shit, right? I used to tell them, hey dude, like the minute you say hello on the phone, they know it's you. You gotta get a burner phone, go turn it on in like a remote place, send one text and throw it away. And hopefully, maybe, you might get a private message across. But other than that, man, nowadays I guarantee you when they go to court, and back in the day they had to ask a judge to tap a person's phone line. Like, that's from the times of hardwire, right? Like hardwire, like wiring. But once phones became mobile, and once the technology, well, now I guarantee you, they just go to a judge and say, Your Honor, we want to tap this person's voice. So anytime he gets on the phone, we can monitor him. I don't care if it's a pay phone, it's your friend's phone. By his voice, we will know. I guarantee you these things are happening in the background. And then on the other side of the coin, you have these people that say like, hey, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, what does it matter? Like, why does it matter that they're doing all this stuff? Like, it's preventing terrorism and it's preventing... Yeah, nobody wants fucking terrorism. It's not for that reason. It's for the same reason it bothers people as, like, when you have a conversation with you and your wife before you go to bed. That's a conversation between you and your wife. Not for the neighbors, not for nobody else. It's a private conversation. It's the same reason why you have locks on your door. You even have a lock on your car. You even have a lock on the restroom's door. Even though it's just you and your wife. You might live alone and you still got locks inside the house, right? You have an alarm system. It's like, it's an extra layer of it's privacy, right? Some of it is like, it just privacy, like, how can I say, man? It's delusional. It's an illusion of privacy or security, right? Like, you have locks on the doors, but you have this giant glass window next to it, right? Like, if someone wanted to come into your house, they'll just break the window and come in like half a second. They don't have to pick your lock, break your door, right? It's like there's some level of we're lying to ourselves to comfort us, to sleep better at night, But it's the same concept as that, like same concept as you exercising your Second Amendment right to own a weapon, right? It's not like, oh, why do you need a gun? Do you want to go and kill people out there? No, it's for the same reason you have an airbag in your car. In case the worst scenario happens, I want to be able to at least defend myself or protect myself or increase the probability of me surviving a very unlikely situation, right? Same concept as an airbag. It's there. You wish it, you hope it, you never have to use it, or you hope it never goes off, but I don't know. So that's my projection of the future. And to add to it, like I went and checked out like the OpenAI and stuff like that. We've already had AI bots. Siri is an AI bot. When you ask Siri questions, and OpenAI is just like a glorified version of that. It's not some real AI shit, I don't have none of those weird stuff in my house. The only one I have is Siri, since I use Apple, like iPhones. And even with Siri, sometimes I'm not comfortable. So, yeah, the future is going to get a lot weirder, a lot faster, you know, and it's gonna happen faster than you think it's gonna happen. And especially when they make the jump from paper money into strictly digital currency, dude, that's gonna blindside people. They're gonna make sure a lot of people that are in the loop profit from it, and the average people get the short end of the stick, like all things. So I don't know, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Put them down in the comment section. Yeah, solo YOLO bolo. You guys have a wonderful night. Enjoy your privacy. Peace.